let's begin. Let's start with the #1 style recommended by experts. The absolute gold standard, authoritative parenting. This isn't about being a perfect parent. It's about balance. Think of it as the perfect mix of high expectations and high warmth. These parents set clear, consistent rules. But here's the key. They explain them. They encourage independence, while providing a safe net to fall back on. Their goal is to be a guide, not a dictator or a servant. It's the parent who, when their child refuses to put on shoes, doesn't just yell. They get on their level and say, "I know you want to keep playing. We have to go to school now. Do you want to put your left shoe on first or your right shoe?" This simple exchange does two powerful things. It validates the child's feelings and it holds a firm boundary. Kids raised this way don't just follow rules blindly, they understand them. This builds truly confident, responsible, and emotionally intelligent adults. Research shows these kids not only perform better academically, but they also go on to have healthier relationships and higher job satisfaction because they've learned how to collaborate, think critically, and communicate. They've been guided, not controlled. The only real downside is that this style is incredibly demanding on the parent. It requires patience, emotional regulation, and a lot of time. It's not the easy way out, but it is the most effective way in the long run. Now, let's be very clear about a style that often gets confused with the last one: authoritarian parenting. This is not authoritative. This is the my way or the highway approach. If authoritative is high warmth and high expectations, authoritarian is high demands and low warmth. It's strict, structured, and often inflexible. Obedience is the ultimate goal, enforced with strict punishment and little to no explanation. The parent is the commander, not a coach. You'll know it by its mantra, "Because I said so." It's the parent who doesn't just set a curfew. They set it with no discussion, and the punishment for being late is severe and non-negotiable. There's no room for the child's perspective or feelings. And while children raised this way may follow rules well and be outwardly compliant, studies show they often internalize that obedience as low self-esteem, high anxiety, and poor decision-making skills. They're so used to being told what to do that they never learn to trust their own judgment. Without room to question or explore, they often learn to resent authority figures later in life, sometimes rebelling in extreme ways. The tragic irony here is that this often comes from a place of love and parents' fear of their child failing or being disrespectful. But in trying to build respect, they often command fear instead. In trying to build strength, they often create insecurity. Next up, we have a style that looks like endless fun on the surface, but has a hidden cost: permissive parenting. This is the yes parent, the best friend. It's characterized by sky-high warmth, but critically low discipline. These parents are incredibly loving and responsive, but they often avoid setting limits because they fear stifling their child's spirit or causing conflict. The priority is the child's immediate happiness, often at the expense of long-term structure. You see this with the parent who says, "Okay, just 5 more minutes," 6 times. It's giving in to a tantrum in the grocery store for a candy bar to keep the peace. The rules are inconsistent, and the "because I said so" of the authoritarian style is replaced with "whatever you want." In the short term, it seems to work. The house is filled with laughter and treats. But without boundaries, kids don't learn crucial life skills. They often struggle with impulse control, entitlement, and difficulty handling any form of disappointment. The real world, with its bosses, deadlines, and rules that don't bend, becomes a brutal wake-up call. They might have a great childhood, but they can face a tough adulthood. This style often comes from a beautiful place of love. The parent is usually trying to be the opposite of their own strict upbringing. But in trying so hard to avoid being a dictator, they accidentally become a servant. Now we move into the most heartbreaking territory on this spectrum: neglectful parenting. This isn't about being too strict or too lenient. This is about being absent. It's characterized by low warmth and low discipline. These parents may provide basic needs, food, shelter, clothes, but they are emotionally or physically checked out. The child is left to fend for themselves, lacking guidance, attention, and most crucially, emotional support. You see this in the parent who is always on their phone, unaware of their child's attempts to connect. It's the empty seat at the school play, the forgotten permission slip, the silence at the dinner table. There's no because I said so and no whatever you want. There's often just nothing. The effects aren't just damaging, they are devastating. Kids raised this way face severe attachment disorders, constantly struggling to form healthy relationships. They often experience low academic performance because there's no support system, and they face a significantly higher risk of depression and risky behavior, as they seek validation and connection anywhere they can find it. The painful part is this style rarely comes from a place of malice. It often stems from the parent's own unhealed trauma, overwhelming stress, or mental health struggles. But the child still grows up without a secure foundation, making it harder to trust others or ever believe they are enough. Next, let's talk about a style that has become incredibly common in the modern age: helicopter parenting. This isn't about being strict or lenient with rules. It's about high control and high involvement, driven by anxiety. These parents are deeply invested in their child's life, but they hover and micromanage to protect them from any possible failure, discomfort, or risk. You see this with the parent who constantly intervenes on the playground, who emails the teacher regularly, who packs their teenager's lunch every single day without fail. It's well-intentioned, a deep desire to give your child the best and safest life possible, but it comes at a cost. While these children may appear successful early on, with perfect grades and pristine resumes, they often grow up with crippling anxiety, poor coping skills, and a deep-seated fear of making mistakes. They've never had the chance to skin their knee, fail a test, or resolve a friendship conflict on their own. So when they eventually face an inevitable challenge in adulthood, they can feel completely unequipped and overwhelmed. The irony is that in trying to build a perfect path for their child, helicopter parents accidentally build a very fragile one. Before we continue, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, and thanks for your support. Now, let's talk about one of the most discussed and often misunderstood modern styles: gentle parenting. It's crucial to clear up the biggest misconception right away. Gentle parenting is not permissive parenting. It is not about letting kids do whatever they want. Instead, think of it as Authoritative 2.0. It takes the core principle of balance and doubles down on emotional connection. The foundation is a simple but powerful mantra: connection before correction. It's about validating the feeling. I see you're so angry that your brother took your toy. It's okay to feel angry while still holding a firm, kind boundary, but I cannot let you hit. Let's use our words to ask for it back. But here's why so many people try it and feel like they fail, and why you see so many videos online bashing it. This approach requires immense patience and emotional regulation from the parent. It's not about being soft. It's about being strategic in the most heated moments. The problem is, it's often presented online as constantly serene and peaceful. The reality is messy. If you, the parent, are already stressed, overwhelmed, or running on empty, trying to calmly validate feelings while a child is having a meltdown can feel impossible. It's easy to end up feeling like a failure when you can't meet that ideal. That's why it gets criticized. When done without the firm part, it can slip into permissiveness. And when parents aren't supported in their own emotional regulation, trying to practice it can lead to burnout and resentment. The goal is to coach kids through big emotions so they learn intrinsic self-regulation and emotional intelligence. The potential effect is powerful. Kids who are confident, empathetic, and secure. The challenge, however, it requires parents to first learn to regulate their own emotions, which is perhaps the hardest work of all. All right, let's shift gears and talk about something that isn't a style, but a reality for millions: single parenting. This is crucial because a single parent can be authoritative, permissive, or authoritarian. We have to be honest, from the start, this often arises from a fractured family unit. It is, by definition, a situation born from loss. Whether that's the loss of a partner through separation or something far worse. This isn't about being strict or lenient. It's about being everything. Imagine being the sole breadwinner, the emotional anchor, the disciplinarian, and the cheerleader, often all before breakfast. It's a masterclass in resilience forged from necessity. This pressure can forge a powerful team-like bond between parent and child. And kids often step up, becoming more independent and responsible much earlier. But we cannot romanticize it. The weight of this responsibility is immense. For the parent, it can lead to crushing burnout, loneliness, and the constant guilt of never feeling like enough. For the child, that independence can sometimes be a loss of childhood, forcing them to grow up too fast and shoulder adult worries. The statistics are sobering. Single mothers often carry a heavier financial and societal weight. They face the gender pay gap, higher rates of poverty, and a brutal, unfair cultural script that blames them for everything if their kid struggles. It's because there's no dad. The judgment is constant and exhausting. Single fathers, on the other hand, often battle a different stereotype: incompetence. They get praised for simply showing up. "Wow, you're babysitting?" As if parenting isn't their actual job. They can feel isolated and often struggle to build the crucial emotional support networks that moms are often afforded. But here is the most important takeaway, backed by research. The gender of the single parent is not the determining factor in the child's outcome. A present, loving, authoritative single dad raises kids just as well as a present, loving, authoritative single mom. The outcome hinges on the quality of the connection, not the parent's gender. The difference often comes down to support systems, financial stability, and societal treatment. So, to all the single parents building a whole world out of what was broken, your strength is not just noticed. It's proven every day. What you are doing is not everything. It is more than everything. And finally, we have to acknowledge the most extreme end of the spectrum: the absence of parenting altogether. This isn't a style, it's a profound trauma. This is the reality for children who are abandoned, orphaned, or left in chronically neglectful situations where even basic needs are barely met. There is no guidance, no protection, no emotional support whatsoever. The effects here are catastrophic and lifelong. We're talking about severe attachment disorders, making it nearly impossible to form healthy, trusting relationships. We're talking about developmental delays, higher risks of PTSD, depression, and engaging in risky behavior as a means of survival. This context highlights the most fundamental and non-negotiable truth of human development. The presence of just one consistent and caring adult is the single biggest factor in a child's ability to not only survive, but to thrive. It puts every other style we've discussed into stark perspective. It's the ultimate argument for why supportive communities, social safety nets, and foster care systems are so vitally important. Every child deserves that anchor. So, we've covered the entire spectrum, from the most supportive styles to the most damaging absences. The goal of this wasn't to make anyone feel guilty. It was to create awareness, because parenting, Whether you're a single dad, a gentle parent, or were raised by authoritarians yourself, isn't about perfection. It's about presence. Which one hit home for you? Drop it in the comments. If you like this, hit the like button and subscribe for more. This is Bald Explainer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.